Hey Grande Live, this is your weekly Newsish Roundup, brought to you by Ronde Hospital, Marketplace Family Foods, Valley Realty, Northwest Furniture and Mattress, and Direct Music Source. Elections are over, and I think it's safe to say there's a stark divide in the emotional lives of many Americans. While some are legitimately happy with the results of these elections, many people I know are desperately trying to keep walking and functioning as human beings. These people are angry, frustrated, sad, and grieving, wondering, rightfully or not, what atrocities the next 4 years are going to bring. Bottom line, America is still divided, and the election results have done very little to change that. Now, that all being said, right now people need things to bring them together. And this week, I got the opportunity to sit down and talk to Zeke, the conductor of Ronde Symphony, and several of his players about their upcoming performances. And, according to Zeke, in this time of separation and us versus thems, music is one way of bringing people back together to celebrate the human experience.
Music moves me because it draws people together. And I think that, especially, day after Election Day, I think we discovered that the country's more divided than it ever has been. And music, especially in times like these, is a tool for drawing people together and building community, building unity. I am a relatively late bloomer for music, for classical music anyways. I didn't start doing anything musical until I was a senior in high school. I had a girlfriend at the time. We had been dating for about 5 years, believe it or not. And one day she said, "You're gonna audition for choir." And I was like, I don't know about that. She was like, "You're gonna audition for choir." And I was like, no, I don't want to. So that day at lunch, I'm auditioning for choir. It was a completely transformative experience. I went from, wanting to do law or politics to suddenly wanting to become a singer, a songwriter. I later would find out a conductor, a composer, all sorts of things. Conducting kind of took over, and I realized at the tail end of my undergrad experience that I wanted to do conducting. And funnily enough, I still hadn't really transformed into orchestra. So I really got serious about instrumental and then moved back to Portland and took over Ronde Symphony last fall. When I auditioned for Ronde, I came out, they invited me, they said, "Hey, we loved your resume, we want to meet you, orchestra wants to meet you, let's get together." Came out and I did a rehearsal, and we had a lot of laughs. 99% of the folks in the orchestra show up because they love it.
It's a really good community outlet. I like how all of the performers here are so invested in bringing music to the community. It's a really big part of it. And especially being a volunteer orchestra, these people are all just trying to donate their passion for music.
Life is pretty dull without the arts, so I think it's very important to expose kids and adults. You just never know where you might light a fire. So don't shut any doors.
There's so much interest, so much intellect inside the classical music. Almost all of it has some substance behind it, some story, some prerogative, some initiative, some history.
There's a lot of history, a lot of culture that you can learn through music.
Music should be for the masses, should be for everyone.
Some nights I have to drive back after rehearsal, get back to Portland at 1:30 or 2 in the morning. The entire way, I'm sitting there planning the next rehearsal. Or I'm sitting there thinking, man, they really did that much better than last week. Or I definitely need to whip them into shape for next week. But that's what makes it worth it. That's what makes the drive worth it.
The Ronde Symphony is having 3 concerts this upcoming week, the first 2 of which are on November 16th. The first one at 1 p.m. and the second one at 7:30 p.m. The earlier concert is a children's concert, after which there will be what's called a musical petting zoo, where children will be invited to play with musical instruments that will be provided by the symphony. Then, on November 19th, the Saturday following that, there will be a Ronde Symphony concert in Baker at Baker High School. So, whether you are red or blue, a guitar or a bassoon, an intellectual or a buffoon, head up to EOU or to Baker High School and listen to the Ronde Symphony this upcoming week. And now, our newest segment of the Newsish Roundup, Grand Film Reviews with Bridger, Jeannie, and Josh.
I'm Jeannie Nickel.
And I'm Josh Byers.
And we're here to bring you this week's Grand Film Reviews. This week's movie, Doctor Strange, will be available to see at the Grande this week of November 10th and into next week.
Doctor Strange is the 14th film to take place in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, joining other superhero movies such as Iron Man, Captain America, and the Avengers.
Dr. Stephen Strange, the titular protagonist, played by Benedict Cumberbatch, is an arrogant surgeon who, through the course of the film, must learn humility as he masters his newfound ability to bend and shape reality, all the while protecting the Earth from interdimensional dangers.
Let's jump in.
You wonder what I see in your future? Possibility.
Doing this.
There are other ways to save lives. So much you don't know.
Teach me.
This is our very first Grand Film Reviews, and I really wanted to just hop right in with a film I loved and that I could be excited for, and unfortunately that's not what I can give you today.
That's the great thing about the formula that they do have. I mean, I'm tired of it because it's repetitive, but the formula is working, and it makes the money because it's something that people can relate to. You have a character that starts low, or they start high and then they're knocked down low, and then they build themselves back up, and then they become a hero to other people, but also they've grown as a character and have developed positive things about themselves.
It's a formula for a reason, essentially.
Yeah, and they use it because it works and because people can relate to it. It's just... There's
you just
other
want
ways.
Something else.
I want something else. There's other ways
Yeah.
in order to relate to your audience that you can do way more effective ways. Yeah. Overall, Doctor Strange is boring, repetitive, and what's wrong with the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
The rest of this discussion is available to be watched on legrandalive.tv.
So what else is happening in the Valley this week? Well, do you like jazz? The LHS High School Band program is playing a USO swing dance at Valley Fellowship this Friday from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. to honor veterans. But the event is also open to the public. So whether or not you've got medals or logos on your cap, come on down to scrape your shoes to the tunes of Sugar Ray and Big Band this Friday night at 7 p.m. Another fun event this weekend. Want to learn how to build a log cabin? Well, there's a Logs to Lumber Living event happening tomorrow, Friday at 6:30 p.m. to learn about log cabin building necessities. If you'll attend, you'll learn about the permits, the material costs, design, and other fun facts necessary to make your log cabin a reality. Also, Foreign Film Friday is at 7 p.m. at Cook Memorial Library. Contrary to popular belief, Hollywood studios aren't the only ones that put out films, and many foreign films are actually very good if you can get past the subtitles. Saturday, the 4th Annual Liberty Theater Foundation Gala is at 6 p.m. in the Liberty Theater in La Grande. There will be food, live music, auctions, and more, all funds going directly into the pockets of the Liberty Theater Foundation so we can see this excellent culture center sooner rather than later on the La Grande Adams Avenue Strip. In sports, the La Grande Tigers football team lost 13-69 last weekend in their trip to North Bend for their first official tournament game. Union lost to Toledo 14-54 the same day. Cove lost to Echo 52-6, and the Elgin team that was supposed to play Rosalia for their final game of the season, but lo and behold, it didn't happen. Elgin is not an OSAA school, and the league they are in has special rules about dates that playoff games need to be played by. The Rosalia game was after that date, and ipso facto, it didn't happen, leaving the Valley down and out, winless in their final week of the season, a bittersweet finale for all teams involved. In better news, the LHS Tigers girls track and field team took second in state this weekend in a surprise victory against several teams rated much higher than they were. Sean Crow is the assistant coach for the Tigers track and field team, and he and I get coffee pretty much every week together. And he said that it was definitely a surprise, but he was very proud of his girls. The boys performed less well in the competition, taking 10th despite Bennett Welch, one of our interns here at La Grande Alive, and also a Tigers runner, losing a shoe mid-race, which, for those of you who aren't runners, is kind of like a hockey player losing his stick on the ice. You can still play, but you look a little silly while you're doing it. But props to him because he still finished and still almost beat his PR, shoeless, helping the Tigers to their higher than anticipated finish at the state competition. And now, here to talk to you about EOU sports news, Evan and Chris, our favorite EOU sports guys, with the Around the Mountain 90 seconds.
I'm Evan House.
And I'm Chris Duarte of EOU Athletics.
This is Around the Mountain in about 90 seconds.
Friday, the women's soccer team lost 3-2 in heartbreak fashion to Northwest in the quarterfinals game of the CCC Championships. Sophomores Alexandra Quaresma and Zoe Anderson each netted a goal for the blue and gold.
The Mountaineer football team jumped 2 spots to number 9 after winning a thrilling game 19-16 over Rocky Mountain on Saturday for Senior Day. Before the game, 18 seniors were honored for their dedication to the program. The blue and gold are off to their best start since 1980. EOU hopes to extend their winning streak to 6 games when they travel to Carroll for the regular season finale on Saturday.
Saturday, the men's wrestling team suffered a 32-7 defeat to Clackamas, with Matt Wynn at the 125 class and Clark Woodward at the 184 class collecting the lone wins. Sunday, both the men and women were in action at the Mike Clock Open. Matt Wynn took home first place at the 125, while Cassidy Freeman at 101 took home third, and Amber Pear at 123 class finished fourth.
Both the men's and women's cross-country teams were in action this weekend as they both took part in the CCC Championships in Salem. The women's took home 6th place, but junior Rachel Rowley earned all-conference honors and a trip to the NAIA National Championships with a 5th place finish. The men carded a 4th place finish as junior Nick Mask reaped a 1st place individual title while being tabbed CCC Male Runner of the Year and Red Lion Runner of the Week. Despite their finish, Monday it was announced that the men's team had qualified for nationals.
The number 7 ranked volleyball team defeated Walla Walla in straight sets, with 8 different Mountaineers recording kills. The CCC volleyball tournament will be held this weekend in Quinn Coliseum.
The men's basketball team won a pair of games in the Bill Holtz Warrior Classic this weekend. On Friday, they defeated Menlo 74-61 as freshman Max McCullough dropped 17 points. On Saturday, EOU overpowered host William Jessup 94-85 with senior Brian McGriff netting 24 points. The women's team was also in action as they competed in an exhibition against Eastern Washington on Sunday, losing only by 7, 67-60.
That's the latest news in EOU Athletics. Stay tuned next week as we take you around the mountain in 90 seconds.
For more information, visit us at www.eusports.com.
And that's your weekly Newsish Roundup. This roundup was brought to you by Grande Hospital, Marketplace Family Foods, Northwest Furniture and Mattress, Valley Realty, and Direct Music Source. Please like and share this video and tune in to grandalive.tv for more local content. I'm Will Bowman.